Welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate, the podcast for real estate agents everywhere. You are now part of a group of real estate agents and entrepreneurs who want to make a difference in their lives. People who are looking for ways to create hacks into the real estate profession in order to make more sales and at the same time have more time off. Agents are realizing that the old ways simply aren't working for them anymore. They are working far too many hours and most don't enjoy a work-life balance. Get ready to explore ways to hack your real estate life. I'm Lisa B. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk About Real Estate. Today, Carl Quested from Agent Mail interviewed me about being a coach, and what better way to hack your real estate career than having a coach. So Carl is from Agent Mail, as I said, agentmail.com.au, and another way to hack your results is by using somebody like Carl, who can help you with copywriting, graphic design, printing, direct mail distribution, and they also have a call center. So if you want somebody to make your cold calls, then give Carl a call. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and really everybody that sporting people who really want to be the best in their field have a coach. So this is something that I highly recommend. So get the right person for you, shop around, and this is a little bit about what I do as a coach. Hope you enjoy it.
Hello everyone, Carl Quested here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Real Agent Podcast. This week's episode, I'm joined by Lisa B. Lisa has been around the real estate industry for, let's just say, many years, has a lot of experience from being an agent through to a principal, and now for the last probably 5 years or so, she's played the role of a coach and mentor. Her current business is the Real Estate Hotline, where she provides ad hoc and I guess emergency advice and assistance for agents, principals, and everyone involved in the real estate industry. A really great episode here. I love Lisa's approach to business and life, so I hope you get as much out of this episode as I have. As always, please leave us some feedback and enjoy the episode. Lisa, thanks for joining us.
Yay! Hi, thanks, Carl. Thanks for having me.
That's okay. Now, we were chatting a bit before the start, so we've got to try and pick up on some of that gold we talked about, because there was already some fantastic information shared in there.
Sure.
So, Lisa, tell me, when did your real estate journey begin?
Oh, God. Well, I'm 49 now, Carl, so it was a long, long time ago when I was in my early 20s. So I started, I did the licensing course full-time 1 year before I went into real estate. And that was when it was like, I'm burning all my bridges. I'm going into real estate and I have to make it work. It's just, this is going to happen. I door knocked lots of real estate offices to try and get a job. And I ended up working for an office that I said, look, just pay me part-time and I'll work full-time just so I can prove myself. And I ended up doing that. And the first day in the office, I sold a house. And then it just kind of went on. He said, yep, want you full-time, whatever. But that's how I started in a real estate office. And then after about 18 months, the guy who owned the business, his wife passed away suddenly. She had a brain aneurysm. Oh, wow. And she passed away. So he came in and asked me, did I want to buy the office? And I'd only been in real estate 18 months. Didn't really know what I was doing as far as owning an office, and my early 20s, 23, 24. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, what can go wrong? And bought the business. And that's where I started my journeys. I just love it. I mean, once I think real estate's in your blood, I think it's very hard to do anything else. It's just something that I'm so passionate about. I just absolutely love it.
And so at the age of 20 through 24, taking over a real estate business, I mean, it's very different, I think, today, because obviously taking over a real estate business can literally just be taking over a database, right? You can literally pick up a computer, you can run it from home. I know there's different models and stuff like that, but back then you had to have an office, right? You had to have a retail presence, you had to have windows, fronts and everything like that. So it must have been a pretty big undertaking.
Oh, well, it was. And sort of the things that can go wrong went wrong. We had a property manager who was taking money, and I'd had all the books checked. I'd gone everything through the solicitor and everything. And one day the property manager had a day off, and then she had the next day off. And then it was just all these phone calls about money going missing and all this sort of thing. And I just didn't know what to do. And a real estate agent that was close by, I rang him and said, what do I do? And oh God, he helped me out so much. Gerard Payne. Oh my God, he helped me out so much. And that was like, I was like, what the hell have I done? But it was scary back then. It was like you had the physical office, so you had to pay rent, you had to do all these things, and the overheads were so big, newspaper advertising. And I mean, it was hard, but it was easy. Yeah. If you know what I mean. It was like, it was only the set things that you did, and everybody did the same thing. It was like you had the newspaper advertising, your for sale signs, your letterbox drops, your door knocks, and that was the focus of your business. So it was hard work getting out there, but it was easy because it was sort of everybody doing the same thing, and there were no distractions. Whereas now I kind of feel sorry for the agents that are starting now, because there's so many shiny objects to chase, social media and this and that and this and that and door knocking. What the hell do I do first? So it is a lot more complicated. And I think a lot of the agents just got to get back to the basic, especially if you're new. Just start with the basics of your door knocking, or you're building a database and getting your brand known and all those sorts of things. And just start with that, and don't chase every shiny object that comes along.
I think, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because whilst the game has changed, the rules essentially have stayed the same, right? Because people buy from people. So the ways in which you make those connections might be more intricate. Now you've got social media, you've got video marketing, things like that. But if you can get in front of people by door knocking, if you can get in touch with people over the phone, you're still making that connection. So as long as that connection is being made,
yes,
use the ones that you're most familiar with, but use the ones that sort of work for you, that kind of get traction straight away.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it's like we live in a world where people can know and trust you before they've even met you, which is crazy. People can look at you online and, look at your website or follow you on Facebook and go, oh, they follow South Sydney, the best football teams and all that sort of thing. And kind of like you because who you follow, or they like you because they relate to you in some ways. And it can make life a lot easier in lots of ways because of that as well. But I think if you're new in real estate and you don't have a database, you haven't got warm calls to make, you've got to start with the cold calls.
Yes, definitely. And I think you're absolutely right. Look, we still see so many agents, getting their profile picture with their arms across the chest, and their profile talks about honesty, integrity, and trust. And, they're all the same things that every other agent is talking about, when what someone's looking for is exactly what you said. What footy team do they follow? What charitable organisations do they support? What are they about as a person? Because in today's society, that's what we're looking for. Is we're looking for sort of that sort of I guess that match in personality that says
the commonality. Yeah,
this is someone that I gel with. This is somebody that yes, they're good at their job, but I also like them as a person, and that's very different to how I think maybe things in the past have been.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like, I know your personality. You know what I mean? It's like you get to know someone's personality from being on Facebook. You get to know their sense of humor and all that sort of thing. And you think, oh, I really like this person. And that's what's happening out there now, which I didn't have when I started in real estate. So in lots of ways, it's become easier as long as you focus on the right things, building your profile and, your online profile and your brand, and doing some video marketing and building up your online resume. And that's what I think a lot of people sort of don't think they need to focus that much time on.
Yep.
And it's like, if you don't get on page one of Google, well, you know who is? realestate.com, domain.com, openagent.com, whichagent.com, all of those are on page one. And if you're not, they are intercepting your client. I call them the interceptors now. They're intercepting your client before they get to you, because a person goes to sell a house or buy a house and they'll type in houses for sale in a suburb, and guess who comes up? All those interceptors. They're taking away your client. So you need to be on page one of Google. You need to work on your online profile that they're not intercepting your clients.
Yeah, totally. And I think, those websites that you mentioned, I mean, real estate agents are middlemen in the process of selling property, where now what's happening is REA and those other groups are becoming middlemen in the process of an agent meeting a client.
Yeah.
It's adding more friction to a process that should be becoming, less, should have less friction in it. So it's interesting to see how the web space is changing, I think, and molding, and it is good to see more and more agents becoming aware of how to use the tools, but I think there's probably still quite a long way to go.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. I mean, I started with video marketing back in, 7 or 8 years ago, and it was new back then. It was, nobody did it. So it's like it's starting to come a lot more of the norm, but it's something, video marketing changes your life. Like it really does. You do it correctly. It's something that people can really feel that commonality with you straight away. You don't even have to be in front of the camera, and it might just be video testimonials as well. It's sort of, there's tools there that people can use that can really just help them so much in so many ways, whether it's to get on page 1 of Google or building their brand and building their profile and getting that like, know and trust factor from people.
So in terms of your business right now, so obviously you've evolved from being the agent, being the principal, and now you're sort of in more of a coaching and mentoring capacity. Yeah. So talk to us about Real Estate Hotline and what sort of that does for agents.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've owned lots of different offices. So I've owned independent, like under my own name. I've owned franchises, and I've owned like a brand name. So I've sort of, over my long time in real estate, I've done lots of different things. So I've got lots of different perspectives. I was a Genman approved office. Don't hold that against me. So I've done a lot of things. Like when I sort of get into something like real estate, I want to know all facets of it. Done auctions, I've done open houses, I've done vendor paid advertising, I've done the opposite, I've done all sorts of different things. So I can get perspectives. And so that's what I can offer people with the hotline is years and years of perspective. Different things that people ring up about on the hotline. And some people prefer to, as I was saying to you before, we email or we Facebook Messenger or they call, whatever. So it's not just strictly calls. But, some of them are principals that just feel alone. They need somebody to talk to. Their spouse say, don't talk about work when you're at home. They can't talk about things to staff members, some for confidentiality, but some because they don't want to feel like they don't know what they're talking about as well. So it's kind of just a lifeline, a helpline, whatever, hotline that you can talk about anything. So people will talk about staff problems. They'll talk about the competition with different things that the competition are doing, or, whether it's just getting a sale or a listing together, or not just getting a listing or a sale together. That's everything in a business. But, whether it's holding hands through situations. I can't do this anymore. I just can't do real estate anymore. And it's like, look, wait, stop. Yeah. Let's take a break kind of thing. Just cheering them on when they get results. It's cheering them on from the sidelines. It might be ads and copy and things like that, as I was saying, in newsletters, and it might be just grammar checks and things like that. Or with my clients, I'll follow them on social media. So it might just be, I'll see that they've spelt there and there wrong. So quick message them, quick, change that, just to make sure their brand's protected and things like that as well. It might be about planning meetings. It might be just how to be happy in real estate, about the balance. I've done a lot of Tony Robbins in my life as well since 1994. I've done every one of his programs, I don't know how many times, gazillion times. And I really live by his philosophy. And I'm an accredited life coach and accredited NLP master practitioner, all those sorts of things. I've been doing coaching a long time, since 2003. And it's all the same stuff that I use on myself. Like at A Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins, you do something which is called your primary question. So it's a question that you ask yourself every day, and before you make decisions, you ask this primary question. And sometimes they're really destructive questions. It might be, is that my fault, or things like that. So it's all things that I go through with my coaching clients as well, to sort of know how your mind works and why you're thinking the way you're thinking. So in my diary, I've got my primary question at the front of my diary. I've got my values and my rules. So what's important to me? What's my values, to make sure that I don't drift off, that I'm congruent with who I am and what I want to do, and my identity, because sometimes your identity can become a bit jaded with certain things. I'm a top salesperson. You have a few bad months. I'm not the top salesperson anymore. Yeah. So all these different tools and techniques that I absolutely live by. And if ever I start to feel off, I know exactly where I need to go. It's like being a mechanic, knowing which screw to turn or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's what the hotline does as well, is just people are going through different things. I can kind of just tune in and see what's really going on, as well as I said, just the practical real estate advice. So I just love it, Carl. It's something that every day it's so different. Yeah, it's different, but it's the same. As I said to you, like people will say things and it's like, oh, this just happened. And I thought, yeah, that happened to me 25 years ago. Nothing really new that I see. It's all the same, but it's new to them. So it's just understanding where people are coming from. And I guess because of my long career in real estate, I can really understand how people feel too. Like discount agents and things like that. You know, they've been around since the day dot as well. It is just getting better. It's making sure that you're prepared, and it's just doing all the right things to, everything that you can to win that listing.
I think it's such a valuable service because people underestimate, I think, how lonely a real estate role can be, because there's the Facebook persona, I like to call it, where you can only really post. I mean, it's the same with the kids. Like, you know, anyone who's got kids, very rarely do you post a picture of your kids screaming or right? You post the one where they're all smiling and happy, you know, and sat down looking angelic. But the reality is very different to that. And I think real estate is very much the same. It's, you know, I actually saw a guy a few weeks back. He posted in one of the real estate groups that he was just having a real rough run of it, and, you know, wasn't sure if he wanted to continue his, you know, career in real estate. Yes. And he got flogged for it, you know, for sort of being open and sort of, you know, trying to share that. Yeah, and you know, it was a case of everyone sort of came back at him and said, "Oh, you know, you've got to do this and you've got to fix that, and you're not trying hard enough and all this kind of stuff." And you know, that's
wow. If that's the same guy, I actually gave him my online course. I've got an online course that real estate agents buy, like it's a 10-week online course. If that's the same guy, I ended up giving him my course. I private messaged him and gave him the course because I just felt sorry for him. I understood exactly where he felt. And you're right, people don't understand. People go, oh, yeah, do this, do that, do this. But, yeah, you try and reach out and you get slammed for it. That's
it, yeah. And it's exactly that, you know, the isolating feeling of if you're not – if you're not posting a new listing every day and you're not sort of posting pictures of your Form 6s and, you know, you're not sort of, doing sort of, you know, happy update videos all the time to, you know, other real estate agents, then you start to sort of feel more and more isolated because you're going, well, you know, I've only got 2 new listings this month, or, you know, I've got that property that's been hanging around for ages and everyone's sort of selling in 4 days. And, you know, I think the need for an outlet for a sort of a impartial person is so important because, like you say, you can't talk to your staff necessarily and say, I'm feeling really low right now, and you don't want to take that home and burden your partner with it. You want to be able to sort of just chat to somebody independently, and I guess that's exactly what a coach and mentor is there to do, is to sort of listen and you know, provide constructive direction to help you course correct.
Exactly. And not everybody wants to be a top producer either. Some people just want to make a living. Some people really just want that balance. Like they want to be able to sell 3 or 4 a month and have time off with their kids. And that's really important to them. So it's working through to get that balance. It might be, you know, Tony Robbins has got a life wheel. It might be kind of working out where you're spending most of your time and just improving a little bit, improving 1 or 2 or 5% every day on certain things that you need to do. But it is lonely. Being a business owner, it is lonely. And you can't say to your friends or to your staff, oh God, I've made no money this month or whatever. Whereas with me, they can say, I need to make some money and I need to do this. And I need to get some listings and I need to get some sales. Okay, let's focus. What have we got to do first? Where are you now exactly? So it's a lonely, being a business owner is a lonely time. And being in sales, I know when I started in real estate, I used to ring a guy, Win Abel, his name was, in Wollongong, and I'd ring him and say, I've got a buyer on a house. What do I do now? When I first started, he'd go, oh, okay, well, get them to make an offer. You know, like I had no clue. When I first had my first week in real estate, I got a buyer. What do I do? And You don't want to feel silly either, asking your principal or asking someone else, or if you can't, you're $1,000 apart or something. What else can I do to get this sale together? If you've tried everything, well, maybe you haven't tried everything. Maybe there's a few other things that we can do. So yeah, so I just like being there for people, and it's what I love to do, help people. And as I said, I've got a lot of different perspectives and written books. So if people want to write a book, or if people want to, set up podcasts and things like that, like we do that, or, anything to help build a profile. Might be looking at their online profile and they might go, oh, look, I just don't know what to do now. So, okay, I do a report on their online profile and say, okay, well, this is what you've got to do, and you've got to include this in it, and you've got to take this out and take that photo away, and, just help them with their branding as well. Because a lot of agents are great salesperson, great salespeople. They're great belly to belly, but as far as working on their business, they're not, they don't want to do it a lot of the time either. It's like, oh, I don't want to do it. I just want somebody else to do that. So it's like just helping them to be able to work on their business as well as in their business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very hard as well, because I think a lot of agents probably look at the coaching industry, and I sort of use that term loosely, but the wider coaching industry, and they've got people wanting to charge $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month for their for their coaching and one-on-one coaching and things like that. And I think it sort of naturally turns them off. And I don't know if you're happy to talk about the pricing that you charge on the podcast, but
yeah, sure. Mine is just $99 a week, $400 a month, and that's access whenever they need it. And a lot of it is just a 5-minute phone call or a 5-minute email or something like that. For $100 a week, you're getting my experience, my knowledge, and accountability too. Some people just use it for accountability. So it's sending in your results once a month to go, this is what I'm committed to doing, and this is what I've actually done. Yep. It's like when you're sending it to somebody, it's like, oh God, I've got to do this. You know what I mean? Like, girlfriend and I are going to lose 4 kilos in the next month or so, right? So we're sending a photo of our scales every morning. It's just accountability.
Yeah.
To have somebody else going, and I'm sending it to a going, oh God, it's the same as what it was yesterday. I've got to do something. And that's the same with the accountability of a salesperson, to say if they've only door knocked 5 houses, they've made no phone calls, they've done no flyers, they've done absolutely nothing for the week. Well, it's not surprising that you've got no listings and you've got no sales. And so you've got to do the actions. So it's really looking at the accountability of the actions first, to be able to get the numbers. So the accountability is a big thing as well.
And so, Lisa, in terms of sort of, I guess, who you work best with, like, do you sort of find, is there sort of a type of agent that you sort of are able to assist the best in terms of where they are in their career or in their sort of, income wise or anything like that?
No, just people that are open to it. Some people are just so much in their own world, they're not open to coaching. So people that just want to learn.
Yeah.
I've got people that have just started out in sales. I've got people that are principals. I've got people that are making really good incomes and selling a lot. And I've got people that are just kind of wanting to get up and get the results up. So it's all different, but it's got to be people. Obviously, we've got to gel together as well. So there's some people that obviously wouldn't suit me and I wouldn't suit them. But as long as people are open to learning and open to discussion, because I'm not here to say, oh, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that, or you've got to do this. It's talking through what they're comfortable with too, because not everybody's comfortable with phone prospecting. Some people hate it. So you either get somebody else to do it, like your services or whatever, or it might be they've got to build a database a different way. So it's working out what those people, what their strengths are and what they like to do. If they don't like it, they're not going to do it.
I think that's really key, isn't it? Because there's certainly a lot of practitioners and coaches and marketing mentors out there which they really sort of do push one specific angle and say this is how you have to do it. And I think the problem with that is it's kind of sort of like trying to make everyone exactly the same. There's people, like you say, work in different ways. I mean, we have clients that hate doing telemarketing, like you said, so they use us to do it. We have others that just say, you know what, telemarketing, not doing it, full stop. I'll find it, and they find other ways of generating business. We have other people that, are purely online. They don't do any, print media. They don't do any any of that kind of stuff at all. They're just purely online. So it's refreshing, I think, that you don't sort of come in and say, this is the way that you have to do it. You're more there to sort of guide them on their chosen path, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if people don't believe in it, they're not going to do it. I always like to say, you know, some people say that trainers and coaches train or coach because they can't do. And it's like I've done so much in my career and I'm still doing it. So I kind of like it when people ask me or say that question, because from having so many different perspectives and all that sort of thing to like, I remember the first time I went out door knocking, I was so scared. And it was like, you know what? I'm just going to do one. If I'm still alive, I can say that I've done it. So I did one, you know, then the next day I did two. Then the next day I did three. And I got to actually like it. So it's just really kind of getting people to just, you know, sometimes they do have to get out of their comfort zone and they have to do things that they don't like to do. But it's kind of working with the people on what they are prepared to do. You know what I mean?
And obviously that goes back to what you said about the what was it you said, the principal question or the
primary question?
The primary question. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Understanding that, yes, you've got to do this and it's not very comfortable, but if it aligns with what your primary question is and what your ultimate why is, then obviously it's going to get the results that you need to be achieving. So
that's right, your purpose and your outcomes and all those sorts of things. You know, why are you doing this? So yes, I mean, I just love real estate, Carl. Like it's just such an amazing profession, and it's something that the sky's the limit on income, the flexibility, the things that you learn, growth. It is quite addictive. It kind of can fill all your needs. And I guess I just like to sort of help people through those tough times as well, whether, like I said, whether it's just holding their hand or cheering them on. That's my role now, and I just love it. Just absolutely love it.
So let's dig a bit deeper into that if we can. Let's say we've got somebody listening to the podcast right now who is like that person I mentioned on Facebook, that's sort of feeling isolated and a bit broken and, you know, considering throwing in the towel. What would be some of the initial steps you would get them to review, either about themselves or their career, that, you know, that they can probably, you know, do from this podcast and actually, you know, maybe take stock? What were some of the first steps you would get them to evaluate?
Well, I guess they've got to look at where they are. Do they like where they're working? I mean, that can be a big thing as well. There's people that are working in offices that hate the environment, that hate the principal. They're happy where they are. That's a big thing. And I think when you're looking at joining a real estate office, it's got to be a fit. There's got to be a team fit with the principal in the office, and I guess the way they do things as well. If you don't believe in a certain way of operating, you know, make sure your environment's right first. I think that's a huge thing. Getting your own mind right, like something that I always suggest is certain rituals in the morning. So it might be you get up at a certain time and you go on the treadmill, or you go for a run, or you go for a walk. You listen to good things. You listen to Tony Robbins, or you listen to any of the sales trainers, or Wayne Dyer, or somebody like that. Whatever your thing is, to listen to that. Have the good stuff going in. You know, there's too many horrible things. You know, people put on the news and they hear all these horrible things, and get your mind right first thing in the morning. Write out your goals. I had my goals on my phone for a while, and it's just not the same. It's not the same as writing down goals, typing it in, to physically writing it in your journal. That there's something about it. It just makes different pathways with your brain and your hand doing it, that you actually feel it and you get excited. And I don't feel you get excited writing it down. I had an app, which I still use sometime. I think it's called Wonderlist. And I still make lists on there, but it's not the same emotion that I get from actually writing down goals. And even if, like when I started in real estate, I used to write down every day, you know, I make so much money in real estate. I bring in $30,000 a month or something back in when I started in real estate. It was something I'd write it out 50 times every single day, to just get that embedded in your brain, that you start to believe it, that you can do it. Because you've got to have the belief in yourself. If you don't believe that you're going to do it, if you've got money blocks or you've got anything like that, you need to kind of work on those things as well. And that's something, writing things out or affirmations, and listening to good things, listening to the Tony Robbins things or whoever, as I said, you choose. That's a big thing. And then I think the next thing is to have a farm area that you're going to make your home, that you're going to make it. Everybody's going to know me in this area. Get one listing, and then everyone around you knows you from that one listing. You do a just listed everywhere, door knock, and then a open house everywhere, and then a just sold everywhere, and then you list another one, and then the road, and then it's like all around there. So you're just all over your farm area that people can't help but know you and have that goal that I am going to take over this area. This is my patch and nobody's getting in here. And get upset when another agent lists one in there. Get angry because that should have been yours. And I mean, it's okay to get angry with yourself. Just don't do it all the time. Kind of learn from it. But that's the things I think really just make sure where you're working that you're happy, get your mind right in the morning, and make sure that you know your why, your outcomes and your goals and all that sort of thing. And then get out there and actually have your area and do it.
And I think as well, don't fall into that trap of thinking that you've got a bad farm area, because you see agents do this a lot where they'll work an area for the best part of 3 weeks and go, oh, it's just a terrible farm area, and then try and move on to the next one and then the next one and the next one, and don't build up any consistency. And, a big part of being a real estate agent is showing your consistency. There's so many different ways of getting listings, but you look at someone like Chris Gilmore, who letterbox drops for 50 weeks of the year. Now, to any homeowner, whether they want to see his, flyers or not, that's consistency. You know what to expect from Chris. 50 weeks of the year, you're going to get a flyer in your letterbox. So you start to appreciate that consistency. And if Chris was one that was like, no, I don't like this suburb anymore, I'm going to try a different suburb, and kept on moving around, people wouldn't list with him because he doesn't have the consistency.
No, they've got to know you. They've got to hear from you, and it's like a letterbox dropper and a phone call and a door knock and a whatever. And also, I've got to say, with the farm area, make sure that there are enough sales in there that turn over. That it's not like a small patch that you pick and there's one house a year. It's like it's got to be enough properties with enough sales. And people go, it's different in my area. It's different in my area, and really, it's not. Some areas are different in, say, rural or something like that, where it's a bit harder to door knock because it's, an acre in between properties or something. That is different. But your normal residential areas are pretty much the same. And it's just there's people living in those houses that either they're landlords or they're sellers. And I think too, one thing that I always just focused on with everything that was going on, with everybody making listings and sales outside of my office, it was like I only have to win the person that I'm with. I've got a listing presentation today. That's all I need to focus on today. I need to win that person. I made a listing appointment for tomorrow. I need to win that person. You get one a day, or you get one every couple of days. You're laughing and try for one result a day. Whether it's a listing, a sale, or a house that's too dear that needs a price adjustment, get the price adjustment. To be honest with the sellers, that if it needs it, then they've got to be told. Don't step around the hard conversations. So aim for a result a day. It's loving the one that you're with and conquering the one that you're with, or, whether you conquer it or like winning over, I should say, probably better, the person that you're with.
Not sort of focusing on, the next 3 to 6 months or whatever, give that person. I mean, we always talk about presence. It's about being present for that meeting. It's about being, switched on and listening to that person and understanding what their goals are from the property, not focusing on what, is going to be happening pre the listing meeting, or, because I think a lot of people, start to spend it before they've made it. They start to go, right, I've got this listing in the bag, and they're already thinking about what they're going to do with that income before they've actually even won the listing. So
yeah, for sure. Actually, there's a lady, Lois Bucket. She owns a real estate office at Lennox Head, and I did an interview with her the other day, and she said that vendors can smell commission breath a mile away, right? And I thought, what a great line. I hadn't heard that before. But, if you're going to listing presentations and you're not winning them, check in on your energy, because if you're coming across desperate, you're not going to get the listing. You've got to actually be the opposite. If you go in there desperate that you want that sale, you want that listing, they're going to smell it a mile away. They smell desperation a mile away. You've got to act the opposite, that you're there, you're present, you want their business. You don't need it, but you want it. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between a lot of people, I think, really winning the listing or repelling.
I think that it's that energy is very important. And I think, I can't remember if it was Tony Robbins or Tim Ferriss that said, if you can't spare, 15 minutes for meditation, then really you need at least 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's so true is that people go into those listening presentations, they're frazzled, they're rushed, maybe they're running late, they're thinking about what they got to do next. And you're absolutely right. The person can sense that they are not priority number one in that time frame. So you've got to be able to,
or the boss is saying you better list 3 by the end of the month, or you haven't got your job anymore. That's the other thing.
Yeah. So the pressure is too much, and
the pressure of results and things like that. And that's when you've got to come back and go, I just need to, not have that commission breath or that desperation. And it's really go in with helping the person. You're there to help them sell, and these are the things that you can do, and to get them sold for the best price in the shortest amount of time, which is what the sellers want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, look, I really appreciate your time and coming on the show. I think what you're offering, as I said, offline is a fantastic service, and I think at the price point where a lot of people are too scared to employ a coach or get someone on that side, every person so far that I've interviewed that has been successful has all sort of said the same thing: to get a coach, to have a mentor, to have somebody, to have a sounding board. So the fact that they can have somebody with your depth of experience, for much, much less than it would be for a normal coach, I think is a fantastic service to offer.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I wish I'd have had it when I started in real estate. I really do. Just just everything from sales to the procedures to everything. So yeah. Anyway,
absolutely. So where can people find out more? Do you sort of do like a discovery call normally when people want to sign up, or what's the process?
No, just to my my website. So it's just therealestatehotline.com.au. Yep. And on there, when they join up, there's and I'm happy to do a call. If anybody wants to ring me, they can call me anytime. If they're considering joining, that's fine. But if they know they want to join, then they just join, and then there's a form that they fill in. It's like a discovery form for me, and it tells me everything about where they are now, where they want to get to, all that sort of thing. And then we just go from there. And then after I receive that form, then I ring them and then see exactly where they are and where we go to from now, kind of thing. So, but yeah, if anybody wants to ring me, they can ring anytime.
Perfect. And I know you're very active on Facebook. Your group, Let's Talk About Real Estate, has been growing and has a great active user base as well. I spend a lot of time in there myself. So if you're not part of that, facebook.com/Let's Talk About Real Estate, or just look it up and you'll find it anyway. So, but I'll include links to Lisa's website and to the Facebook group as well in the show notes. So, Lisa, thanks once again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl. Really appreciate it too.
Thank you for joining us at Let's Talk About Real Estate. I'm Lisa B from the Real Estate Hotline. I hope you found plenty of ideas to hack your real estate career. For more information, please go to www.therealestatehotline.com.au and please join our Facebook page at Let's Talk About Real Estate. See you next week. Bye.